Good Friday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And this shot we're going to show you right now, it looks like it's not even from around here, doesn't it? This is actually up in the Waterville area, our Sky-Fi tower camera up that way. And yes, Waterville above the cloud inversion that we saw all day in the Wenatchee Valley, with fog throughout most of the day, also in the Wenatchee area, but not the same situation up in Waterville. As you can see, beautiful blue sky with just a few scattered clouds, temperatures up that way into around the 40-degree mark, and that's where we were pretty much across north central Washington. But talk about warm weather, look what we have waiting for us. We didn't quite get to 46 today, but look at as we make our way through the weekend and into next week. We're talking Saturday through about next Tuesday. Temperatures in the lower to mid 40s with overnight low temperatures in the low to mid 30s. But we're not done with the wet weather yet either. Here is a graphic that was supplied by the National Weather Service this morning. This is what we expect from today right through about February 8th as far as moisture goes. And look at the Pacific Northwest, by far the wettest spot in the entire United States, where some spots in the western part of Washington could pick up between 6 and 8 inches of rain as we make our way through the next couple of weeks. So a very wet weather pattern, and we'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A Wenatchee woman was the apparent victim of a dog attack about noon Thursday, suffering bites from 4 dogs that were then driven from the scene. A 71-year-old Wenatchee man remained hospitalized this afternoon after he was struck by a car while crossing Orondo Avenue yesterday. First, it was 4 charges, then 9, then 11. Now, 53-year-old Theron Heidemann faces 14 counts of child sexual abuse involving 4 victims for over more than a dozen years. And the Spokane man who scuffled with the state trooper near the Palisades last week now has 5 criminal charges to deal with. But first, we begin tonight. Police and multiple rescue agencies helped bring a man out of the Columbia River in Wenatchee about 10 o'clock this morning after he allegedly fled from the scene of an assault. The man, who's not yet been identified by police, had to be helped up the steep bank by firefighters while in handcuffs and into a waiting ambulance to face arrest. Wenatchee Police Captain Brian Chance explains what happened.
Wenatchee police officers responded to a call for service at the Lighthouse Ministries on South Wenatchee Avenue to a subject that had been previously trespassed from that location and was reported to have committed an assault. Officers arrived at the location and the suspect fled east here toward the river and down over the bank and into the water. Police officers were, of course, immediately here at the scene. The subject went into the water on his own and grabbed onto a tree branch in the water. Officers were continually negotiating with him to try and get him out of the water, and he was refusing to do so, but ultimately did willingly come out of the water when he was taken into custody by police officers. And then, of course, at that point, we had the other resources here at the scene to address the medical concerns and getting him safely back up the slippery, wet bank, back up to where he could receive the appropriate medical care. He is currently under arrest, and that investigation is ongoing.
Chance says the rescued suspect is 23-year-old Jose Gomez of Cedro Woolley, who's lived in the Wenatchee area since last fall. Police plan to seek charges including second-degree burglary for re-entering Lighthouse Ministries, assault, resisting arrest, and possession of methamphetamine. A Wenatchee woman was the apparent victim of a dog attack about noon Thursday, suffering bites from 4 dogs that were then driven from the scene. The reporting person told Wenatchee Valley Animal Care and Control that his wife was attacked by 4 dogs about noon. It was up number 2 Canyon and was bitten repeatedly all over her body, including severe injuries to her left hand and left ear. The dogs were described as 2 Rottweiler-type dogs and 2 mixed-breed dogs. The victim's husband said someone drove the dogs from the scene in an older maroon Subaru station wagon. If you have any possible information to help identify this dog's and vehicle owner, contact the agency, and that number is 509-662-9577. Make sure you punch option number 1. Well, a 71-year-old Wenatchee man remained hospitalized this afternoon after he was struck by a car while crossing Orondo Avenue on Thursday. Wenatchee police said the man was crossing near Plaza Superjet about 5:50 p.m., apparently not using the crosswalk. A passenger sedan struck him in the road, leaving him with 2 broken legs and a head injury. He's listed in stable condition at Central Washington Hospital. The accident is still under investigation. No tickets have been issued. Well, first it was 4 charges, then 9, then 11. Now 53-year-old Theron Heidemann faces 14 counts of child sexual abuse involving 4 victims over more than a dozen years. Chelan County prosecutors filed amended charges on Wednesday against the Peshastin man, who's been jailed awaiting trial since spring of 2017. Heidemann was accused of abusing youngsters for years in multiple child welfare investigations throughout the early 2000s, but sheriff's deputies said they lacked evidence to seek charges until victims began coming forward 2 years ago. He's remained incarcerated on $100,000 bond while attorneys feud over evidence, including medical records. Heidemann is now scheduled for trial in late February. Well, the Spokane man who scuffled with the state trooper near Palisades last week now has 5 criminal charges to deal with. 39-year-old Daniel D. Walker remains in the Okanagan County Jail after the January 17th incident. Douglas County prosecutors brought charges this week of DUI, third-degree assault, resisting arrest, and driving on a suspended license. Walker had previous convictions for DUI and vehicular assault. Police say he struggled with the Washington State Patrol trooper after failing a roadside DUI check on westbound Highway 28. Passing drivers stopped to assist that officer. Coming up next, for the second time this week, a Moses Lake woman is behind bars, this time accused of breaking into a residence Wednesday, choking the occupant, and stealing a vehicle. The Wenatchee City Council last night knocked down a measure to exempt churches from the kind of noise controls placed on outdoor events held by other organizations. And the Chelan Douglas Land Trust struck a deal with a large Douglas County landowner to protect more than 6,000 acres for sage grouse. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
AC Checker has new owners who put customer service first. When you have to get there on time, call fast, friendly, reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. AC Checker has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee. Conditions apply. Call AC Checker, 663-TAXI to schedule your cab or schedule online at acchecker.com. Call American Classic Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today, 509-663-1710.
Welcome back. In another news, for the second time this week, a Moses Lake woman is behind bars, this time accused of breaking into a residence on Wednesday, choking the occupant and stealing a vehicle. 20-year-old Cassandra Calderon Ozuna previously was arrested Sunday after allegedly stealing from a business and then spitting on the face and mouth of the arresting officer. She was released from jail on Wednesday and soon was being sought again. Moses Lake police said she called the police station Thursday to complain that they were embarrassing her. Police reportedly told her they'd stop looking for her as soon as they had her back in jail. She then hung up on them but was located later that night. The Wenatchee City Council last night knocked down a measure to exempt churches from the kind of noise controls placed on outdoor events held by other organizations. The exemption was opposed by neighbors of the new Grace City Church, which expects to finish construction this year on its new Sunny Slope Worship Center. They say outdoor events on the worship site have already disturbed their peace.
2 years ago on Easter morning, my wife and I were awakened at 7:30 a.m. to the window shaking noise of bass guitar. This was happening about 50 feet from our bedroom window. Noise from the Grace City's amplified rock band continued most of Easter Sunday. When the rock band wasn't playing, there were various people speaking on amplified microphones. The entire surrounding neighborhoods were subjected to this event. We can only imagine as an association what it will be like during their grand opening ceremonies, which will likely happen in the next 6 months.
It was a one-time event 3 years ago. We're not going to do anything like it again because we have a facility now, and we don't want to be annoying. We want to be good neighbors. It's kind of a big deal to us. Like our boss says, we have to, and we think being a good neighbor is not a burden but a privilege.
The city placed interim noise controls last year that are due to sunset at the end of February. Last night's 4-3 vote extends the controls for another 6 months. Mayor Frank Kuntz suggested the church exemption that the council voted down. He told NCWLIFE Jefferson Robbins it was something local faith leaders asked for.
What happens when you talk about getting rid of outdoor amplification? You have a number of churches in town that like to do outdoor events, and so the issue is, do they get to continue to do those outdoor events? There's a new church, Grace City, that's being built in the city out in Old Station. It's adjacent to county property, but it's inside the city limits. They'd like to do outdoor events as well, perhaps weddings, other sort of community events. And so there's a real issue between how much do you allow in a residential area with those sort of noises that come with amplification, especially in the evenings. I was approached by the religious community, and they said, hey, would you draft something that would exempt us from this so the council could consider it? It's really up to the council to sort of think about that. I told them that I would make sure that when you approach the council tonight, that if there's an option that you want, that at least our attorneys have drafted something for the council to consider.
In other news, the Chelan Douglas Land Trust struck a deal with the large Douglas County landowner to protect more than 6,000 acres for sage grouse. The Keene ranching family granted a conservation easement on its 5-generation ranch. The property sits right in the heart of the region's remaining concentration of greater sage grouse, which has lost 90% of its historic habitat in Washington state. It adds to the 21,000 acres that the Land Trust already conserves in its 2-county area. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
People are really skeptical of our industry. They have been sold products, they have been sold policies they either don't need, don't understand, confusing. I understand that. We are more about the process and the people. Our SFG roadmap is designed to take care of all of those concerns. For those that have questions about their retirement, we would love the opportunity to sit down and chat with you.
You want to help others. You need a solid career. You can have both with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, stop by our campus at 595 Grant Road across from Safeway, or visit chartercollege.edu.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. New rules for short-term vacation rentals could be in place by this summer, according to Chelan County Commissioner Bob Boogert. An outside consultant was brought in last fall to look for ways to address conflicts between vacation rental owners and neighboring property owners. Boogert wouldn't speculate on when a final set of rules might be ready for board action. In tonight's feature story, Boogert admits it's been a long process that involves more than just neighborhood nuisance issues.
But we certainly have heard enough from our local communities, particularly Leavenworth, Plain, Cashmere, Manson. Those areas that one would expect there's a high percentage of short-term rentals, that it does really affect the some of the issues that are really a little bit more difficult to manage. Certainly there's the very tangible things, which is noise, trash, parking, trespassing, things like that. Those are easy, relatively easy for us to come up with code to regulate, but it's the less tangible concerns that many people have raised as far as what it does to the community, how it affects the neighborhoods, workforce housing issues, housing affordability, things like that, that really are a little bit more challenging for us to address.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast as we head into this upcoming weekend. Before that, though, let's take a look outside our weather window. Where's this at, right? We've had clouds and fog all day long in the Wenatchee Valley, but not the same scenario for you folks in the Waterville Plateau. This is from the Waterville Sky-Fi Tower camera. Beautiful blue sky, and we haven't seen that in about 4 days now here in the Wenatchee Valley. And just to give you a little heads up, not much is going to change as we get into the end of the month and the 1st of February. We'll get to that in a second. But today, we did see a high temperature, a little bit warmer than we have in the past. 40 degrees this afternoon. It was beautiful, wasn't it? 36 is our normal high temperature. 30 our overnight low. 26 is where we should be for low temperatures. 53 our record high set in 1984. 2 below zero our record low, and that was set once again back in 1969. Picked up another 4/100ths of an inch of precipitation at the airport in the last 24 hours. That now gets us to a ½ inch even since January 1st, so still about 3/10 of an inch behind where we should be as far as precipitation. Snowfall to date still at 11.2 inches. Sunrise 7:36 this morning, and the sunset this afternoon at 4:50. Let's take a peek now what's going to happen as we get into the upcoming weekend for our Saturday. And one thing you will notice, a little bit cooler temperatures than we saw today. 43 in Moses Lake. We'll all pretty much be around 40 and the lower 40s as we make our way through Saturday. A few exceptions, the upper elevations, Leavenworth and Lake Wenatchee. Also Chelan about 39, and Omak, your high tomorrow with some fog and possibly some shower activity at 38 degrees. Surface loop time now. Let's get right to it. Lots to talk about tonight. Cloudy skies, patchy fog, a 60% chance for rain late. This is about 11 o'clock tonight, and then this area of moisture will move through, and that will make for a wet overnight for us here in the Wenatchee area. Pretty wet for Saturday too. Cloudy skies. You can see almost the entire state inundated with shower activity. It will remain on the mild side though, as this ridge of high pressure remains up and over Washington state, so expect wet and mild weather as we make our way through the weekend. And Sunday, that's going to be our wettest day. 80% chance of rain. We could pick up to a 1/4 inch of rain. Some of the greens and yellows you see on our map, that is heavy areas of downpours that we could expect, and that will mean a wet Monday too for at least the western part of Washington. We have about a 30% chance for rain as we kick off our next work week. Eastern Washington will be spared that, but not so much for Tuesday. Spokane, you're going to get a little of that on Tuesday. Also some rain showers to our west, but very mild temperatures. We are talking maybe 60 degrees in the Pasco, Richland, Kennewick area as we get into this weekend. And then Wednesday, or I should say Tuesday, Wednesday then, more rain showers. A 40% chance of the wet stuff. Still that big wet flow moving up from the west-southwest, and that's going to keep us on the wet side for Wednesday. Same goes to Thursday, although our flow gets more of a westerly tone to it. Look at the heavy rain for Thursday in western Washington, where we could see 2 to 4 inches of rain just on Thursday. Thursday, and it's going to be warm. Very mild in the southeast. We will see temperatures here in the Wenatchee Valley in the middle 40s. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. 31 degrees overnight tonight. Remember, showers will develop, a 60% chance of the wet stuff. We're going to stay wet on Saturday as well. I think most of that will be morning showers and 40 degrees. Sunday will be our wettest day. An 80% chance of rain, maybe a quarter of an inch total on Sunday. 43 the high, 43 the high as well on Monday, with once again a 30% chance for showers. We'll warm up a little bit for Tuesday, 44 degrees, 42 on Wednesday, and then on Thursday a 50% chance of rain. But look at that high temperature, right around 45 degrees. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Dan Kuntz in for Eric Granstrom tonight, and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Reinventing FaceTime here at Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, a new family-owned and operated business located in the heart of downtown Wenatchee. Owner Andrew Vickery brings forth years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spa. Let us help you add hydrotherapy to your already healthy lifestyle.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hi everybody, I'm Dan Kuntz filling in for Eric Granstrom. Happy Friday. We'll start out with girls bowling. The Eisenhower Cadets won the Big 9 regular season championship. They'll host districts next week with the narrowest of victories over the Wenatchee Panthers. After the two matches and the two Bakers, it went down to total pin counts. Eisenhower wins by 57 pins, and believe it or not, they win the Big 9 title by 7 pins, because they'll probably tie with the Wenatchee Panthers. Then it goes down to total pin count over the entire regular season head-to-head matchup. Unbelievably tight. And again, districts next week in Yakima. As you see there, Moses Lake top Davis in bowling yesterday. Wrestling, it was senior night at the Eastmont Gymnasium last night. Our cameras were there. Eric Granstrom was there. A nice victory for the Eastmont Wildcats. With the highlights, here's our very own Eric Granstrom.
The needle on the gas tank is bouncing on E. Who's going to have enough over the next 25 seconds? Jimenez on the bottom ready. And the whistle sounds. Quickly to his feet, Jimenez turns with 21 seconds. Trying to get himself free here. Maybe get a reversal, maybe get a one-point escape. He's got to get his leg behind before they go out of bounds. They're out of bounds and no point given. Jimenez still on the bottom with 11.7 seconds left. Eastmont bench behind us, cheering for their fellow wrestler. Eisenhower coaching staff telling Mendoza to hang on for dear life. Jimenez quickly up with 9 seconds. With 8, he's trying to get free, and he does a one-point escape with 4 seconds, with 3 to go out of bounds, with 3.3 seconds to go. And Jimenez leads it 5-4. Now we're ready. The stall warning going to be given here as the wrestlers go out of bounds, but that will be the time and that will be the match, and a 1-point victory here for German Jimenez by a score of 5-4. How about that? This is our 8th match of the night of the 14 contested here on the NCWLIFE channel. A shot, beautiful single leg by Krawczyk, but now he's got to continue with the move. Now he goes to a double leg. And a good counter by Jaime. Can Krawczyk step through? Steps around, comes in from behind, now takes him down. Got a crowd though, got a crowd. Still no advantage for either wrestler, and they're both up with 10 seconds left in the match. 5-4 the score. Krawczyk in the lead. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, stalling whistle, or not whistle, but given here to Krawczyk with 1, and that will be the match. 5-4, the win here for Tommy Krawczyk.
Nice victory for the Wildcats for the last home match of the season. Also the winners in wrestling last night. Sunnyside got the best of Wenatchee. Moses Lake victorious in girls wrestling. Your winners, Eastmont, Sunnyside, and Moses Lake. As far as the wrestling schedule is concerned, take a look. See, the big match is going to be down in Prosser. It's the big rumble in the valley with lots of wrestling going on. Les Schwab Prep basketball scoreboard from last night. Take a gander. The winners, the Cashmere boys, In girls play, Antioch victorious over Soap Lake and Bridgeport edged Manson. In boys swimming yesterday, Moses Lake had no trouble beating Hanford, and there's a bunch of teams at the Wenatchee High School pool today and tomorrow for the big 9/11 dive meet. Let's talk about girls basketball for tonight. Take a look at your schedule. Down the line, as you can see, the Wenatchee Panthers have the day off. They'll be playing tomorrow. Girls basketball on Saturday. The one we want to point out is the game we'll have live. The Davis Pirates and the Wenatchee Panthers. Airtime at 5:30, and they'll tip it off at 5:45. Grant Olson with a call tomorrow at the Wenatchee High School Gymnasium. Boys basketball schedule for the weekend, same as the girls, just a little bit later on, especially in Caribou Trail League game. And the boys basketball schedule for tomorrow. There's your Saturday schedule coming right up. And once again, we will have the Wenatchee Davis boys game for you at 7:30 with Grant Olson on the call right here. Women's college basketball last night. Gonzaga, no trouble with Pepperdine. Central Washington stopped Concordia, I should say. The women's college schedule over the weekend. The Huskies are in California, so are the Cougars. Eastern Washington travels to Southern Utah. And then on Sunday, they reverse that. The Cougars will play the Bruins, and the Huskies will play the Trojans in women's college basketball. Men's college scores from last night. Colorado beat Washington State, and Utah defeated the Washington Huskies. The men's college schedule over the weekend. Take a look-see. As you can see, the Wenatchee Valley will be hosting Treasure Valley in a girls-boys doubleheader. The girls at 2, the boys at 4. And finally, the Wenatchee Wild will host the Trail Smoke Eaters over the weekend. They got games tonight, games tomorrow night. Star Wars night tonight, proud to be an American night, is tomorrow night. The Wenatchee Wild are currently in 5th place in the interior division of the BCHL. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Have a great weekend. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. And finally tonight, Sasquatch apparently crossed a lot of ground in the past few days. This time, the elusive beast, also known as Bigfoot, presumably has been caught on video on Snoqualmie Pass. But first on Wednesday, the Washington State Department of Transportation East Office playfully posted these pictures from its Sherman Pass webcam with an image it speculated might be Bigfoot. And then yesterday, WashDOT Snoqualmie Pass did it one better, sharing a video from its camera near the summit. The two passes are about 260 miles apart. Much like all images of Sasquatch, the footage is a bit blurry. And if you have a video of the day that you'd like to see on the NCW Life Evening News, message us on our Facebook page at the NCW Life channel. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. Start your Monday off right here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Our guest will be Gary Ivory, who is the general manager of the Douglas County PUD. I had a chance to sit down with our special news correspondent, Stevie Hare, for an exclusive interview, part of Steve's series of interviews called In Focus. So Gary will be our guest on Monday's edition. Plus, we'll have the entire weekend wrap up in the world of news and sports and everything else. Have a dry weekend. We'll see you Monday at 7 a.m. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Danny Kuntz. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a fantastic weekend.
With TV advertising, what we want to do is more deeply connect with the community.
People spot me in different parts around North Central, Costco and Wenatchee, say, hey, you're the pizza guy. And so they wouldn't know that if it weren't for the TV commercials we've done.
We've been here so long that people already know who we are and what we do, but to have that image flash on their television screen as opposed to just hearing it in the radio or seeing it in the newspaper, I just love the fact that we can actually put our finger on when a customer comes in and says, I saw your ad.
It's becoming increasingly difficult in this digital age to know where are your customers listening or watching, because I watch all the different channels that they watch too, like Cooking Channel, History Channel, and so it was wonderful to be able to be on there.
I would say that if you want to do business in Wenatchee, then you should connect with the people of Wenatchee, and there's no better way to do that than with NCWLIFE.
Hey Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.